This episode of the podcast is brought to you by our partner, Audible.
Yes, it is. So we are partnered with Audible. That means that if you are looking just to check it out, you don't want to put your card in and just take the dive. You can get 30 days for free on us. If you go to audibletrial.com/JATG or click the link down below, you'll be taken there. You can sign up for 30 days for free and just test it out. Like there's a lot of stuff on there that you can get for free, a lot of Audible exclusives. But what I really like about Audible is that out of the hundreds and thousands of audiobooks that they have, if you decide to purchase something, that is yours forever. Like if you decide not to carry on your subscription or you want to take a break or whatever it is, you can always go back and listen to that book whenever you want through the app on the internet. Doesn't matter because it's yours. So once again, you can get that for 30 days for free on us if you go to audibletrial.com/JATG.
Oh, it says preparing the live stream, setting up your meeting for Facebook Live, and I'm guessing we're live. Are you up? Are we up?
It'll take a minute.
We are up. Yes.
We'll just talk like we are.
There we are. Facebook Live, everybody. Johnny and the Greg, we are back better than ever. Sorry, I'm taking that from Mike. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear.
Okay, I didn't know if I muted myself or what.
Nope.
Okay. All right. Welcome, everybody that watches us. Thank you. For those of you that have friends that would just dig some Johnny and Greg time, let them know about us. Subscribe, share, give a thumbs up. That really helps us out. You have no idea how much that actually helps us out. So please do that for us.
It's gonna be my mom and all her friends. We're gonna have a group of 70-year-old.
You think your mom would have like her bridge night, but it would turn into a Johnny and Greg night?
That would be interesting.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we should have a live show as she makes me cookies.
Mom doesn't play bridge though. They like go gambling and
what
stuff.
The hell is bridge? Is it a card game?
Yeah, it's a card game.
It's a card game. How do you play it? Do you know?
No idea.
Yeah, me either.
No, nor do I. See, like
I'm not a card guy.
I'm not a. I mean, I am a game guy, but yes, I'm not.
You're not tabletop.
Yeah, I'm like a tabletop. I like board games with like a theme to it or whatever. But
yeah,
to play like a card game. I mean, I know, like obviously I know blackjack. That's pretty easy to do. We used to play a lot of euchre when I was in high school. If you ever heard of that game?
Euchre, yeah. Bob Euchre, yeah, famous.
I don't know if it has anything to do with Bob, but
I don't think it does. I'm just saying it.
I played a lot of euchre in high school, so I got to know that game. There was this, when poker became a big deal, everybody was playing Texas Hold'em. I did a couple poker nights.
Right.
But other than that, like my parents would be like, "Hey, do you guys want to play hand and foot?" I'm like, I don't know what that is. And
hand and foot? Is that what it's called?
Hand and foot. Yeah, that's what it's called. And they do like, well, we'll teach you how to play. I'm like, okay. And I'm pretty good with games and rules and stuff, but for some reason, it just doesn't click with me. Like we were trying to play this game. I think it was hand and foot. I don't know. Maybe it was something else. But then all of a sudden I'm like, they're like, no, you can't do that because this card wasn't in play. And this, I'm like, and what? It wasn't the fourth Tuesday. I'm not allowed to. It just didn't make sense to me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I don't want to do. I don't want to do like get like if you and your wife came up and I brought out a deck of cards to be like, hey, you guys want to play a card game? I mean, we're playing like Royal Rummy, which is just matching of cards and going like that's.
I am a notorious I don't do card guy. That's me. I don't do. I never even liked. What was that game we played in college all the time? Asshole.
Yeah, we played Asshole a little bit.
Even that I didn't like it. No, and like I'm not a card guy. Some guys, oh my God, they get so jazzed up for it, and I am not that guy.
Yeah.
I think somebody one time bought me a poker chip set.
Yeah.
And I remember opening it up, looking at it and going, "Do you know me? Like I don't ever.
You
When
start
have I
crying a little
ever?
bit. You
I don't
don't
even
eat
play.
all, do you?
I don't even play. What's that? The simplest one, Go Fish. I don't even play that.
Goldfish.
Uno.
Only.
I don't play
Yeah.
Uno. I don't play any card games. I
See,
am not a
but
card game
again,
guy.
Uno, like Uno is its own game. Like that's its own set of cards. Like, and I mean, it's a simplistic game, but like when the kids were little, sure, we'll get down with some Uno. I mean, I've got a famous picture of my youngest. She's like 3.
Yeah,
So like we're helping her play the game.
of course.
She's got the heart cards in a little holder
Yeah,
because she couldn't hold them like normal.
right.
Half of them are backwards. And because we're playing the game like, well, no, if this is you would play this card at this time. She wins like 3 games in a row because and she was just like
coaching her through it. Yeah,
well, yeah. She's like, I win. I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But yeah,
not that guy.
that's
I'm not that guy.
Yeah, I would much rather take the time to do like, I mean, and even because we talk about like Dungeons and Dragons on here and things like that, and people are like, oh, you just like the complicated role playing games. No, there's games like Ticket to Ride is a great game.
I liked Clue.
Cool, yeah. I mean, like, sure, yeah.
I
Let's get
like
down with some
that.
Clue.
I liked Operation. I liked Hungry Hippos.
There was a game that when we were at Gen Con, I was like searching for. It was called Betrayal at the House on the Hill. And this is why I'm iffy on if I'm ever going back to Gen Con. Because like every game that I wanted, like I
wasn't there.
Well, it was there, but they're like, hey, this like they set up the table. I'm like, great. Can I buy that right there? Can I buy that? They're like, well, no.
You have to order it online.
You have to either order it online or this is actually a booth for our Kickstarter. Where if you want to invest, you can invest in our Kickstarter right here. And if it gets funded, then we send you a copy a year and a half later. And I'm like,
no,
I don't want to.
No. Do you get your money back or no?
If you traditionally fund through Kickstarter, and I don't know how all the other crowdfunding ones work. If it's for a product, like I'm guessing if you're giving to a charity or something like that, then no, you don't
of
get
course
it back.
Yes.
That just goes to them.
Right.
But I have done a couple game projects, and you don't pay until like the campaign is over. Like I recently supported a campaign setting for our D&D game, and it went through. So they're like, okay, we're fully funded, but now we need you to pay us. So it's like, if this is going to run for 6 weeks, I made my pledge. 6 weeks was up. They had enough to say, yes, we can go into production, but we need you to pay now. So then you pay, and now you're just waiting for the product to come.
Oh,
and like
there's a little bit of wondering, did I get scammed?
A little bit. Like I kickstarted the Avatar: The Last Airbender role-playing game.
Okay.
It was over a year. I just got my product like just before Christmas. And
is
it
it
had
good?
been well
is it
over.
Fun?
I haven't played it. Like I bought I asked my family because we're big fans of that series. Is this a game that as a family we would like to play? Yes, we would. Okay. So I kickstarted it. All the books and stuff didn't come in. And I had some PDF copies early, but like no one wanted to page through a PDF.
Mm-hmm.
Because they wanted like the book. They wanted to hold the book and look at it and stuff. And now that I got it all, I'm like, guys, you want to play it? And it's a year and a half later. They're like, not really.
Not really. Yeah. Yeah. Flavors change after time. Yeah.
And by this time, like the money that I invested in it is gone and forgotten. So it's not like I'm upset. Like, oh my gosh, I could have spent that on Christmas this year.
Yeah.
No, I could have spent it on Christmas last year.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's how Kickstarter works.
How was your weekend?
Slow. Like
good slow or bad slow?
I don't know. I was kind of hoping to do maybe something last night, and it just never manifested.
So. Was it the type of weekend where you're allowed to take a nap?
Yeah.
Yeah. Not that you did. I'm just asking, was it that type of weekend?
Yeah. it was more the idea that like, everybody was kind of off doing their thing.
Yeah.
So I could have just taken a nap and no one would have known.
Okay. I'm glad you phrased it that way, because I have a question for you.
Yeah.
And did you ever feel guilty for taking a nap? Did you ever feel like you were going to get in trouble if you took a nap? Who's ever listening out there that is, I'll be honest, I think this is a guy thing. I don't think girls take a lot of naps. Maybe that's wrong. I don't know. I don't like Ursula never takes a nap. And when she takes a nap, she feels guilty. And I'm like, why are you feeling guilty for? I don't care.
Yeah.
But there have been times where I'm sleeping and all of a sudden I'll hear the garage door open and I'm like, no, I'm sweeping. I'm not napping. I'm sweeping the floor.
No, I don't. It's in this era of my life. No, I don't feel guilty.
I was going to say, I don't think it would be now. Like younger.
Yeah, maybe, but not even in my 20s, like before we had kids.
Yeah.
I didn't feel guilty then because I'm like, well, who am I responsible to right now? It just doesn't matter. I felt guilty if like I fell asleep on the couch and then you wake up and the kids are like, are we going to do something? Yeah, totally. Let's go outside or like whatever. That's when I would feel a little guilty. But I've never known a woman in my life that felt guilty for taking a nap, I guess.
Oh, she does. She's like, I had all this stuff to get done. And I'm like, it's okay. It's a Sunday. You're allowed to take a nap.
You're an adult. There's always something to do. Could get done.
Yeah. That's true.
And I guess I know lots of moms that would like maybe feel a little guilty about that because they've got this highly Hollywoodized vision of what they think their house should be like.
Right.
Like I'm trying to think if you've been to my house. You never just pop over. Like we live far enough apart. Like it's not just a pop over.
I actually wouldn't. I'm not that guy. To this day, I still ask my dad if I can go in his fridge. Like I don't just go in his fridge.
Right. Yeah.
I'm not that guy. I would always say like, hey, is it cool if I come over? I would never. I always feel like wherever I'm at, it's your house. So I'm not going to think it's mine, even though you've told me, hey man, mi casa is su casa. I'm like, no.
Well, except for you and I, there was a time in our lives where mi casa was su casa because we lived together.
We lived together, in college, yes, of course.
But you also know how I live.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't pick up a lot. And I've gotten better. Some of that's on me. But what I mean is like, you've never been to like this house that I've lived in for the past 10 years. You've never been here when we didn't know you were coming, meaning you've always seen it in pretty good shape.
I see. Okay.
Like there are very few. Well, and I would be fine if you saw it in its natural state, but it's a handful of people that get to see that.
I get it. We have a phrase
in my house, like we need to clean like grandma's coming over.
Yeah, we're the same. I think Ursula's relaxed if her family's coming over. Anybody else, my family or friends, no, they can't know that this house people live in this house. They can't know that.
Yeah,
they can't know that. Everything has to be like.
We gave that up a while ago for a lot of people, like the day-to-day kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Just because when you had 3 kids, it was.
Oh yeah. Dude, right now our entire house is covered on every level with some sort of toy that she played with, left there and went to the next level to play with another.
Yeah. And that's just.
There's toys everywhere.
If people just understood, like that's the natural state of a house. Like,
yeah.
I can tell you, I've got 3 teenagers. Their rooms are atrocious right now.
Of course, that's their head.
Like, that is, I mean, I have like they each have a dresser and a closet in their room. I think they're just for show. Like they're really just for show. Yeah. And to put things on top of.
Hey, like, Dad, can we get this big heavy wood thing out of here?
Yeah, they've literally asked, they've asked me like, do I need a dresser in my room? And a part of me wants to be like, yes, you need a dresser in your
Yeah.
room. But I remember being a teenager and having one in my room and still living out of a laundry basket. And my dad just getting pissed at me.
You know what though? Well, that's your dad in his military, right?
Probably, I would
Yeah.
say yes.
I think you're did you not I'm sorry. And this is not an insult at all. So Mrs. Truly, this is not an insult, but I kind of pictured your mom like June Cleaver. Like she was
Um,
always at the house. She always had food ready when you came home. She did your laundry. She put it away in your like
not
no.
always, not always. I mean,
Okay.
definitely not June Cleaver because my parents worked. I mean, they
Okay.
were
I
working
didn't know.
parents,
I
and
thought your
that's
mom stayed home. Okay.
well, they did in stages, and
Okay.
it was either a stage of childcare and unemployment. I mean, it
Got it.
was just because we were, either upper lower class or lower middle class, depending on when you would catch us in life.
Okay.
Um, and it was just like if whoever was home did that kind of stuff.
Okay.
When my dad was in the military, he was originally trained to be a cook. Like when he was in boot camp and they're like, okay, these are the assignments that you're going to be, they're like, you're going to be a cook. So he learned how to cook for an army, like literally, like that's,
Yeah. So
but then,
there is an order to that.
yeah. But then
Yeah.
at graduation, they said, nope, you got a new job now. You're going to Vietnam. So that was kind of his
To
journey in
cook
the
in Vietnam or to be on the
no,
infantry or
no,
something.
he was a radio man in a recon unit. So
Fuck, dude, that sucks. He had to carry that damn thing on his back
he had
all
to
the time.
carry the big pack with like the giant,
Yeah, with the
like
giant antenna. You ever watch
General
war
Lee
movies
antenna. Yeah, that
where they
was,
like crawl over and they use the guy's backpack and they're screaming into the
yeah,
phone? And I'm like, how are you hearing anything?
yeah,
Like, I get distracted talking to you, and Gwen wants my attention.
yeah,
I can't imagine being in a war.
yeah.
Like you're getting enemy fire and you're trying to understand command or
And
oh
you're
my
the guy
god.
with the phone, and you have to stand
Yeah.
next to the other guy who's going to shout into the phone. That was dad.
Yeah. Probably
Um,
the entire time hoping, please God, don't let me get shot in
well,
the
and
gun.
yeah, the thing's a giant target on your back. They're like, hey,
Yes.
there's their communications guy right there.
Yeah. Shoot that
And
dude. Yeah.
so he went from a cook to that. Um,
Wow.
so but then dad knew how to make food. I mean, and that
Yes.
was so there wasn't a um the split of who did the cooking in the house was predominantly mom, but if dad needed to do it, he'd do it, kind of
Not to
thing.
make this all about your dad, but did you ever hear your dad, like maybe in the middle of a nap or at night, like have a nightmare about Vietnam?
No,
No. Okay.
no, I know it happened.
Did it?
Like we heard about it
Mrs.
later.
Truly, if you're listening, and I know you are, just write yes. You don't have to go into detail. Just write yes, those have happened. I'm just interested in that.
I remember my dad, like, and I didn't know if it was genetic or if it was part of his training or whatever it was, but he wakes up like wide-eyed, ready for something to
Ready to
happen.
go. Okay.
Like I remember waking up dad and he'd be like just, and you're going, what?
I'll be kind of honest, Greg. I haven't seen your dad any other way.
Well, yeah, I know.
I mean, if anybody wants to look at the Greg's dad on Facebook, he looks like they just said, what's
every
his name?
pic,
Jim, right?
yeah, every
Like,
picture of my dad looks like somebody, not every picture. I have a couple where he's smiling, they're good,
don't believe it.
but they're few and far in between. Most of the time, if you look at him, even before he had all of his medical issues, it was either he was stone faced or he
Yeah.
was surprised.
Yeah. Everyone looks to me that I've seen recently. It's like somebody's been, hey Jim. He was like that, and they took a
Yeah.
picture. That's what it looks like.
So
But
I do
yeah,
remember
okay.
I do remember one story dad told of him, like he was newly back from Vietnam, like he
Okay.
had been discharged and everything else. And dad has a lot of younger siblings, like down to like he was a early 20 something adult and he had like siblings that were like 7 and 8.
Oh, okay.
So that's the age difference there. And
Mom and dad just never stopped.
oh, good Catholic family. Yeah, just kept putting them out. So the story goes, and then the way he told it was there was a guy across the street, another guy without a job or whatever, that he was just an asshole and was picking on the other kids in the neighborhood.
Okay.
And like was as kids were like riding by on their bikes, this guy had like a stick and was hitting the kids as they rode by on their bike.
Okay.
With like a switch or something that he had pulled off a tree. So it hurts. And so dad's siblings ran upstairs and they're like, "Hey, Jimmy, this guy's bullying us or being mean." And dad's like, "Okay." And walks across the street. The guy's standing on his porch, which is like a screened in porch.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he's swearing at dad, but it's kind of the whole, like, what the fuck are you going to do about it kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the way dad puts it, and I really do believe this, he reached through the screen, like boom, like grabbed him, pulled him through the door and started beating the piss out of him.
See,
and
you know what? And those were the days where you could do that.
The guy certainly deserved it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It was acceptable. You were like, "What'd you do?" "Well, I was hitting kids with a stick." Okay, well, you fucking deserve that.
Well, and this guy's,
those are good days.
Like, I don't know if it's this guy's mom or something like that, calls the police show up.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Dad's waiting for him. Like, please show up." And they're like, "What happened?" Dad goes, "Well, here's the situation."
Yeah.
And they're like, and this guy's they're like, "You beat the crap out of him." He's like, "Well, yeah, I just got back from Vietnam, like, I don't know how long ago. And I just kind of,
snapped.
Just one of those things." And they went, okay. And it was
idiot. Don't piss off this guy anymore.
Yeah. It was kind of a thank you for your service. That guy over there is a dumbass. And then they went away.
Yeah. See, but I think that's really missing in this world. And don't take that the wrong way out there, America, or whoever's listening. I just think that you should get your ass kicked for being a jerk. And because I think you'd be less a jerk. You'd be less a jerk.
That part is true.
Yeah.
And what also was missing was like, hey, how about some therapy for these vets that are coming back
that
are having these blackout beat the shit out of people.
Of course.
There's actually a show on Apple TV Plus right now called Shrinking. And that is a major part of the show. A guy who was in the Middle East as an infantryman. And he's having these rage episodes and he's got court mandated therapy. And it's him working through this stuff. It's actually a really good show.
I thought the Hurt Locker did a really good showed really good, like, how, like, he couldn't hack it in the I don't want to say the real world because he couldn't hack it back home. What I mean by he couldn't hack it, folks, like, there's this scene where he's in the grocery store and it's like he's like bored out of his mind. I don't know how to describe it, but he ends up going back to defuse bombs. Like, so it was just it was interesting. It was just an interesting way that you could just tell that whatever he's going on right now at that moment, it was like, I can't do this. I got to go where there's danger or something.
Yeah.
It was interesting. Anyway, didn't really want to go down.
I was gonna say, what did you want to talk about tonight?
Yeah, I know there wasn't much to talk about except that I just thought this was interesting. This happened a little bit a while ago, actually February 1st. Greg, did you hear about the 22-year-old high school assistant basketball coach who allegedly posed as a player to take a part in a junior varsity game?
No.
Yeah, there's video of her doing it, and she's like killing people.
Oh gosh.
Which you would.
Yeah.
She was fired along with the rest of the coaching staff for allowing that to happen. And I just thought that was like, whoa. Yeah. It says 22-year-old coach fired after impersonating JV basketball game. The assistant coach, Arlisha Boykins, stepped in for one of the players on the Churchland High JV team who had missed a game for I'm sorry, I hit load and I lost that.
So she steps in for a player that had to miss the game.
Yeah, had to miss the game.
Her number
in a different league. Boykins then took the court against girls aged 13 to 15. So 22-year-old person was taking on 13-year-old players.
22-year-old probably played ball in college.
Oh yeah, if she's a coach, I'm assuming she has some sort of a history to it.
Maybe
You don't even have to play college if you like when you're 22.
That's true. I mean, one of my first teaching jobs, they gave me a volleyball coaching position because I said I'd do it. Like that was the I had no experience, but I was coaching middle school.
Yeah. Can you imagine that?
But yeah, I can imagine like if you're
I would dominate.
22. I mean, everybody thinks
Michael Jordan that day, man.
Everybody thinks like 17 to 19 are like your prime years, but I was in pretty damn good shape when I was 22.
Yeah. I don't picture you ever doing this, but have you ever been in a backyard competition or whatever? You were in some sort of competition and you realized you were playing kids, but like you got into yourself at first, and you were like, wait a minute, dude, calm down. Like, the person you blocked was, 8.
No, nothing like that. But there was like, because when I said I coached volleyball,
yeah,
and I was taking all of my cues from the varsity coach because I'm like, I don't
know what to do.
I don't know if you know this, John, but in volleyball there are positions that have jobs.
Yeah,
and that there are offenses that you can run. Like there's a 6-1.
I did not know that. I did not know that.
Neither did I at the time. But they're like, well, I said, pass, set, spike, or whatever they call it now. But is that still the 3-hit rule? Like that's what you want to go for? You're like, yeah, you don't have to worry about any of that. They're 7th graders. If you can serve, you can win. Let's just focus on serving. And then she's like, you know what? Here's a drill. Take them through like if they do have to try to block a spike or something, because like club volleyball was starting to skyrocket at this point, and so you did have girls that were starting to really get into that.
Was that during Gabrielle Union? No, I'm sorry, that's not Gabrielle.
The actress?
Union. No. Who was the girl that was really popular at beach volleyball?
Yeah, it's about that time.
Right.
I don't remember. Gabriella something.
Yes.
So I'm standing on like a ladder or a step stool or something.
Right.
And I'm just doing spikes. Like, and I said, okay, I'm going to hit it here. And your job is to just get under it and get the ball up in the air on a pass. And I'm about 20, 30 hits of me just going, bam, bam. Like
just dominating.
Just like 23-year-old Greg, who's in the gym 6 days a week at this point, just gunning these things. And I went, wait a minute.
Yeah. Maybe I should pull back.
Yeah. I'm like, maybe this is not what they're going to face.
Yeah.
So I did have that moment where I was like, okay, you can go a little light. Like just,
I for sure have had those. And I for sure had those moments, and especially in flag football when it turned into, I want to teach these kids to, I'm Tom Brady against these kids.
Yeah.
And then you go home and and then you realize, oh shit, you know what? I lost it there.
Yeah. There was a group of education majors when I was in Whitewater, and it was like we were a cohort. We were a block of like, we had 3 classes together, and then we had a field study, they called it, where we all loaded up on a bus 3 days out of the week to go teach in an inner city Milwaukee school. Then they'd bus us back.
Right.
So like that entire semester, you're solidly with this group of people. So we got to know each other. And then at the end of the semester, which was summer, they're like, do we want to do something? Do we want to have like a cookout or like and we all went, sure. And
they did.
So our professor hosted it actually out at her house outside of Whitewater. We all go to her house, someone's working the grill. We all got stuff going, and somebody says, let's play a game of football. And they had like a Nerf ball.
Yeah.
And I remember I'm like, oh yeah, cool. It was like 2-hand touch. She's got a giant yard, pretty flat, no one's going to twist an ankle or anything like that. We're like, cool, let's do that. We start playing, and it's like 7-man football at this point. And okay, cool. Just doing the thing. And I post up in my lineman space like I do. And okay, no problem. Getting in the way of people, stuff like that. We switched to defense. And one woman, she had to be in like she was a non-traditional student, which at this point
Yeah.
probably meant she was in like her mid to late 20s.
Yeah.
She gets the ball and she's a runner. So she starts to go. I remember I'm on a pursuit angle,
Oh
and this
no.
woman is about the size of Ursula at this
Okay.
point. And I'm going, and I realize,
Oh
whoa,
shit! I'm gonna knock the
whoa.
hell out of her.
Yeah, I literally
Yeah.
like I went to go, oh no, I gotta. And I
Yeah.
remember like when I touched her, like
No,
her shoulder.
You just did this.
I did. There was a little bit of a grab there, and she went, and I was like, oh God.
Yeah.
I stopped playing. I was like, hey, someone else can come in because
Yeah. Oh, pull the hammy.
yeah, I'm tired now. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
sit down.
Yeah.
And I sat back down. So he was like, and one guy came, he was like, you look like you were about to like light her up. I'm like, I think I was gonna like something
Yeah.
took over. I'm like,
I had to pull over. Yeah. You didn't have the only one I would give an actual reason to go ahead, full out kick their ass is like you have a teachers against the students basketball game or something.
Had those. Yep. Had
Oh,
those.
there I do not blame any teacher for bawling out on these kids.
Yep.
That to
Now-
me, I mean, I'm sure there's a bunch of kids out there that you're like, I'm gonna light you up for all the things you made my life hell for this year.
There, I did the last one I played in, which is years ago. I do remember playing, and like there was one kid who was like, he was a class clown, he's a cocky motherfucker,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Oh, Streely, I'm gonna be all over you," and I was like, "Okay." And I
Let me
don't
show you what adult strength is
well,
about.
and I don't play basketball,
Right.
so it's not like I'm a good basketball player, but I can play defense pretty well.
Yep.
And this kid, I remember the principal had to like pull him aside and talk to him because he was getting real handsy, and he's like, "You need to knock it off."
Yeah.
And but every time, whatever it was, I had like his rhythm just
Yes.
instinctually.
Yes. You know where he was going.
He would drive the lane, and I wouldn't even jump. I'd just be like, "Oh," and just like smack the ball straight out of the air,
Yeah.
which was totally embarrassing for him. So
Of course.
he's getting pissed off because he's just getting owned by this chubby bald teacher, and like he started to like block a little too hard, or like put his
Yeah.
hip into me, and the principal got pissed at him. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, well, whatever. Here we go.
Yeah. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think I'm on the teacher side for those. Like for all the stuff you guys have to eat throughout the year.
Yeah.
You get this one time to just not only show that, hey, I'm not just a guy that just gives lessons plans.
Yeah.
There
was one teacher in that game I remember, and he was like 6'6", 6'7", played ball in college. So we're like, there's our ringer. There we go.
Yep.
I remember he had the open court for like a dunk. Like it was just lined right up. Go ahead. He goes up and puts the ball right into the rim. Like the rim stuffs him. Like he didn't get it up. And we're like, oh,
yeah,
he's never living that down.
Oh, the rim stuffed him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I rewatched The Gray Man today.
Okay.
Just for fun.
Sure.
And
you still like it?
I do. It's not as good as the book, but I still like it. Anyway, I was watching it and I'm thinking to myself, why does every spy movie at one point or another happen in Prague?
Oh, you know why?
Why?
Because it's cheap to film there.
Oh, it's just cheap?
Oh, it is so cheap to film there.
Okay, so what do you think is the okay? So they're going for a European look and they picked Prague.
Exactly. If you want Rome, you film in Prague because all the architecture is there.
Okay.
And the government is just letting Hollywood in, like tax, not just like, oh, we're only going to charge you this much, but full on tax breaks where it's almost free to film there.
So
because they're giving the tax breaks and but they have to employ Czech crew. So it's not like
it says right here. To shoot a movie in Prague is much cheaper than to do it in Britain or the US. And this is the main reason why so many movies are made there.
That is exactly why. It's just so damn cheap. And it started like in the 90s. I think one of the first movies I remember being conscious they're like, well, this was filmed in Prague, was the very first Mission Impossible film.
Okay.
So you might do like some set pieces that are like where they want to say, oh, that's London. So like they'll show a bridge or something like that.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it's just Tom Cruise like running across it.
Which is, I think that has to be. I wonder if Tom Cruise has to run in his contract.
Just him sprinting.
Yes. I'm actually going to look that shit up. In an action
Could
movie,
be.
does Tom Cruise have to run?
Have to sprint.
Yeah, have to sprint. Oh, it already came up.
Did he sprint in Maverick?
I believe he did because he had to run. Yeah, he had to run from the like when he got shot down. He had to run.
Correct. Yes. Yep.
Yes.
He
Yes.
absolutely did. I forgot about that.
Yes.
Well, you watched that over the weekend. Family and I, we went and saw Cocaine Bear.
No shit.
We totally
did. You really see it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it good?
Yes. Well,
Fuck
yes.
You. That's a good movie.
It is. It is a good movie.
Wow.
It's a good movie if you enjoy that kind of movie. I mean,
what kind of movie is it?
What have you seen Tucker and Dale versus Evil?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Okay, it's that kind of movie where it is just this dumbass premise. You know that anybody.
Okay, all right. So okay. Well,
know what you're going in for.
Okay.
Like we went in there going, this is a movie that someone heard of. It is a true story.
It is an absolutely true story. I remember reading it.
Where drug dealers ditched their load in, I can't remember wherever there was a
bear country.
Bear country. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. A bear found a bag of cocaine, ate a bunch of it, and the bear died in like 5 minutes, like because its heart exploded or something like that.
Yeah.
But the animal experts said for 5 minutes that bear was the apex predator of the world. Like you couldn't have shut it down if it tried to kill somebody.
Yeah.
So filmmakers just went, okay, this thing, the bear is actually like taxidermied in a local like gas station.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yes.
That you can go be like, that's the cocaine bear.
Yeah, that's the cocaine bear. Yeah.
So filmmakers got a hold of that. And it's Elizabeth Banks is the director she's done.
So she was just having fun with it.
Yeah. So it was, and there are like recognizable people in this film.
Oh yeah, I know. I watched
Carrie Russell plays a mom. Yeah. I mean, it's just people running, like they've got this kind of drug dealer story. It's Ray Liotta's last film before he passed. And it's just silly and it's funny. The people, you've got to be in to kind of laugh at the ridiculous ways people die.
Yes.
Yeah. And it was just fun. It was we laughed. I mean,
did the bear die at the end? Because I could see this making a sequel if it does well.
No.
Okay.
No.
Sequel's coming then.
At the end of the film, it is the bear overlooking a moonlit waterfall and just
shit, this thing's coming back.
Well, and
this is the new Sharknado, I bet.
Maybe it's better than Sharknado. It's much better than that. I mean, there's production quality to it. It's not gory like when you think of a horror film being gory.
Yeah.
But there are some gore and fake blood elements that
I can't believe you saw this movie.
Like you see a leg drop from a tree.
Yeah.
It looks like something you'd pick up from the Spirit Halloween store.
Okay.
Like that's, it's perfectly cut.
Yes.
For a bear. It's just all kinds of ridiculous. And it was fun.
Cool.
I loved it. My kids loved it.
Yeah. I can't believe you saw that. I thought for no way would you see that. But hey,
yeah.
If it's good, if it's fun, then I guess why not? Right?
We are entering a series of like Hollywood's starting to release solid stuff like from here until almost like the end of the summer season.
Why would you bring up Cocaine Bear and solid stuff?
Because it's a decent movie. I'm
not really okay. So you said it was a goofy movie, but now you're saying it
is goofy, but as far as a goofy, like ridiculous movie goes, it's enjoyable. I will watch it again.
Oh, wow.
I mean, I don't
Wow,
know if
okay. All
I'm
right.
not gonna like go to the theater to watch it again, but when it comes out on a streaming service, because my wife didn't go, but when it comes out on a streaming service, I'll be like, hey, we're gonna watch Cocaine Bear.
Wow. I never thought I'd hear that from you, but okay.
It
whatever.
it's
Like,
it's in like the do you remember Army of Darkness?
yeah, of course.
It's that kind of movie where
Oh, it's
it's
that type of movie.
kind of silly, not a horror film by any means, or like Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah,
You know, kind
I
of
hear you.
mostly a comedy, but still has a couple elements where you're like, I mean, they tried to do a couple jump scares, but because you know what they're doing, it's not really a jump scare.
Wow. Wow. I watched Nate. What's his name?
I don't
I was
know.
telling you about it before the show. The comedic actor.
Oh, Nate Bergantz. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you guys are familiar with him, but he had a bit that was pretty funny where he said in your 20s, your buddies will come to your house and go, hey, you want to go? And you're like, yeah. And it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter where you're going, but you're like, yeah, I'll go right now.
Let's do it.
Yeah. He says in your 30s, you go, yeah, I'll go, but is it loud? I'll drive separately there. I'll drive separate. Yeah. He goes, in your 40s, you're like, I ain't fucking going.
Yep.
And they go, in fact, I'm kind of offended you asked me to go. But it's a good special. It's on Amazon Prime. He has a pretty good special with that. But I thought, well, he's absolutely right about all those age brackets. But what is 50? Like, what would be the 50 one if somebody says you want to go there? 50 is probably like, yeah, I am definitely never going.
Well, I think by the time you're 50 and your friends are also in their 50s, they know what to ask.
Yeah, that's true.
And so if it is something crazy, hey, we're going to go do this. You want to go? You're like, yeah, fuck it. We'll go. I mean, it's
funny. And forgive me, Kurt, but when your brother invited us to go hunting,
yeah,
my 40-year-old self was like, no. and then I was thinking, what? It's like the angel on my shoulder was talking to the devil, and it's like, hey man, you're gonna have fun. I'm sure you'll go there. You'll shoot some guns. You'll throw back some beers. You'll have some fun with guys. And I'm thinking, yeah, but no, like, you'll be cold once.
Probably,
probably you'll be cold, and there's going to come a time where I'm sure you're bored.
Yep.
And there's going to come a time where you're going to sit there and say, I could be at home under a blanket watching a movie with my family. And it's just funny because, like, that's the mindset of a 40-year-old now.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when he said that, I thought it was so funny because when you were in your 20s, yeah, you'll fucking go anywhere. I'll burn down my house right now. Let's go. So it's just funny how it just switches like that.
And I made the effort to try to get back into hunting, and it just didn't take. Like, it didn't click. I thought it would click with me.
Yeah.
I even shot a deer, and I mean, even now, like this past deer season, I finally went, hey, asking my family, who are all of mature enough age to answer honestly. I'm like, who likes venison here? All of them were like, no, we don't really like it. I'm like, so if I shoot a deer, I guess I donate it or something somewhere, because I like no one really like I would have it, but I can't eat a whole deer on my own.
You cook it and you put it in. You use that instead of regular meat for like pasta. They wouldn't fucking know.
You can tell, actually.
I know, but I don't think they have it. I don't think
80-20.
And maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think your kids have that sophisticated of a palate to go, hey, wait a minute, Dad, this is veal.
It's not veal. I mean, venison tastes different.
I'm sorry, I meant to say venison.
Right.
I just don't think their palate's that sophisticated.
Have you had venison
Yeah.
like recently?
Yes, I mean, not recently, but that's my point. If
Well, that's
they
like
haven't had it recently,
I mean, but when we had okay, you got to prepare it well. We know that, but we had bear at the Packer game. Like
yeah,
we had a couple different bear things, and I could
yeah.
tell it was bear. Could you not?
If somebody told me it wasn't, no, I would have thought it was just some sort of meat.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
there's no way I would have sat there and said, "Oh, this tastes like bear." Now that's because I've never had a bear.
Yeah, but I could like I had a bear brat.
So my
I'm
question, I guess, is how often did your kids, before you asked them that, have deer?
probably last time I shot a deer. Anyway, the point is, like, if I shot one, like getting it processed, I mean, there's other hidden costs in there and everything
Yes.
else. And I'm just like, it didn't appeal to me enough to go through what you just described,
Yes.
being cold, being bored,
Yeah.
doing all those things. Like, if I want to get drunk with my brother, let's just go do that in a bar, like somewhere else. So
Or
we
I'll
don't,
meet you at your garage and we'll
Yeah.
get hammered. Yeah.
or if you really want to go up to your buddy's cabin, it's fine. Let's
Right.
do that. But I don't want to hunt. Like, it's just not something I want to. I have
Yeah.
told him, like, fishing I can kind of get behind. Like, that was because you're on the boat with the other guys.
Well, most of the time it's warmer too.
It's warmer.
Yeah.
You're talking, like,
Yes.
there's you're
There's
shooting
conversation.
It's not just you going. That's it. You look
Yeah.
left, you look right, you look straight ahead. You start to listen a little bit more, and you wonder, is that a squirrel or is that a deer?
Do you know what I would actually do? Now, I'm assuming that if he took us hunting, we'd go in some sort of, because I think I've seen pictures. It's some sort of hut, right?
There's a blind. Yeah, usually it's like a tent.
Okay. In that tent, I would pull out a Gray Man novel and start reading.
Yeah,
That's what I would do, because I'd be like, I'm not like, I'm sure one of you guys are going to see a deer, like,
maybe.
and you can let me know. Like, I'll be reading the Gray Man.
And that's the thing. Like, you don't want to, if you're sitting with another dude, then you have to decide who's going to shoot.
Well,
And
I mean, I certainly wouldn't fight to get my gun off. Like, whatever. Like, that's just not in me. Now, there are parts of me that would actually, I think a gun, believe it or not, would be easier. I would like to actually try bow hunting. I've talked to you about this.
Yeah.
I know it's incredibly difficult.
But you want to try like stalking a deer.
Yeah. To me, that would make it, even if I fail at that, I'd feel better than sitting in a hut and just waiting for something to walk by.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would like to actually, like, okay, hey, I'm not downwind. I got to figure that out. Or I would feel like I need to be a part of that more than just sitting there hoping, or I don't know, do they have somebody to go out there and chase them that way or something?
You can do what's called a drive, which is
right.
Which those can get dangerous because you're starting on one end of the field and you're coming this way, trying to drive the deer in that direction, hoping you don't get shot.
Yeah. So that's kind of like, okay, here's my hunting experience in my lifetime. My dad didn't even tell me we were going hunting. He came to pick me up and he drove a different way back to his house, obviously. And he pulls into this farm and I'm like, oh, my dad's just going to do something here for business, because he took me a lot on his contractor work. And he's like, all right, we're going to go hunting. I'm like, what? And what the hunting was for pheasants, right? So walking a cornfield, right? So, and this is like December, and this is a December where it's a cold day. And
back in the 80s, kind of December.
No, 90s.
And
but still, that's before global warming, and now it wasn't like 50 degrees out. But anyway, so it's cold, and my dad puts on the latest Predator gear. And he gives me the shit with holes and doesn't fit right, and like the pants are too high up, and I got boots that are 3 sizes bigger, and it's so I am not this isn't comfortable. It's
Right.
weird to walk in it. I'm walking in muddy fields and I'm freezing my ass off because the suit has holes in it. And he's just living, having a great time. He showed me how to shoot a gun. It's fine. And we sat back to back waiting for geese to land. And I was like, this is miserable. I'm literally, have you
Yeah.
ever been cold to the bone?
Yes. Yep.
It's the worst thing in the world that ever happens to you out there. It's cold to the bone where it doesn't, like, you need a good hot meal, and that starts to warm you up. You can't get rid of it for a while. It's horrible. And that's what my experience was. And he was like, wasn't that fun? I'm like, it was awesome. You know, and it's like, because you don't want to let your dad down.
Yeah.
You don't want to let your dad down. But it was horrible.
Yep. That was that very similar experience. I mean, dad's tree stand when I first started hunting was just some plywood up in, like, it was like a platform, plywood platform in this tree.
Yes.
That we're sitting on like 5-gallon buckets.
Yeah.
And you're just out in the open and wind's whipping through. And I mean, I had a blaze orange vest on, and the rest was like, winter jackets and stuff. But
did you ever had to put deer piss on you?
No, he never did the scent.
He never did the doe scent.
No, never did that.
I would have brought that with me and, like, I don't know, put on the barn.
Well, and I remember, like, he had the antlers, like, for rattling and stuff, like, to make it so. And I'm like,
get a buck over it.
And I'm like,
fight for territory.
Can I do that? He goes,
no.
Okay. About an hour later, can we do it now? Okay. And so I take him and I'm like, just like, he's like, that's not how you do it.
That's not how you do it. Give me him.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, how do you do it? Like, I mean, it was, and it was, then he's scratching the tree and I'm like, okay. I mean, and that was it. And then he put him away. I'm like, well, can I do it now? He's like, no, you can't do it too much. Okay.
Greg's like, give me something to do.
Give me something to do. And I was so young that I couldn't carry a gun yet. So it's not like I was hunting. I was just there watching my dad hunt.
Yeah.
And it was terrible.
Come to think of it, that was pretty stupid. My dad gave me a rifle. I don't even know if I carried it fucking right. I don't even know if I carried it right or not.
Probably not. Probably not. If you weren't
I think I carried it down like this a lot.
With your finger on the trigger? That's a bad idea.
Yeah, probably.
There was, and then when I could carry a gun, it was, I swear the thing weighed 80 pounds because it was just this old shotgun that dad gave me. And here, you're using this one because this is the one that
you're
everybody starts with.
Forest.
Like, okay, this is so much fun.
This is so much fun. Yeah, and guys, don't get me wrong, you hunters out there. I actually understand it because my dad explained to me once, it's when you go out there, you have the ability to think or not think. And I get that. I just don't get that from hunting.
Yeah, I can do that lots of different places.
Like that's my dad's favorite part of going out there. He doesn't care if he gets anything. He's out there to be part of like my dad. I think back in the day, my dad could become Grizzly Adams and he would have been very happy.
And I was talking because we just got done watching this week's Last of Us episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm telling my kids, I'm like, we're screwed. Like, we don't know how to farm.
I think the majority of everybody's screwed.
Yeah, because it's the farmers and the hunters that are going to be okay.
Or it's not only that, it's the people that are willing to make choices that.
Well, there's that. I mean, but in terms of like just take away the zombies, take away just shut down. Like who can go off and live on their own? And it's the people that know how to hunt and they know how to farm.
Yes.
And we can't do either of those things. Like,
does that scare you a little bit?
Yeah, there's a part of me that's like, I should know, like, if something does happen, let's figure that out. But honestly, we would pack up what we could and we would probably head down to my hometown where I know lots of people there that can do those kind of things. So
would that be kind of your evacuation plan?
I guess, yeah. I mean, in the downfall of society, I guess.
Yeah. Downfall of society, for some reason, my mind's telling me to go to Colorado. but I don't
Wow.
know shit about mountains. I don't know
Yeah.
shit about mountain lions or bobcats or bears or whatever the hell else is up there.
Well,
Um,
and we were driving. We had an ice storm up here just this last week,
yeah,
and like my son's like, how did like settlers and Native American, how did they make it through
those
an
were
ice?
hard people, man.
And he's like, how do they make it through an ice storm followed by sub-zero temps? I said, well, they still had fire, like that wasn't, and they had
Yeah.
structures that they knew how to build
Yep.
to get them through.
They were also probably just harder individuals.
Well, yeah, and
Like,
it's, I said
like they didn't get tired walking through a Harry Potter exhibit.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
not so much. I said, but they had, you had your fire going and you had your 16 hide blankets that you're going to cover up with,
Uh-huh.
along with all your clothes on, and then you would just make it through the night
You probably cuddled with a horse
if you had to.
because their
Like,
body heat, right?
yeah, I mean, but I mean, if you knew how to build the structure, if you knew, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not big on that uh time period in history or that type of history, but I mean, I've seen enough documentaries to be like, okay, you build your shelter, you keep the fire burning all the time.
Let me ask you a question, honestly, because I didn't know if this was ever bullshit or not, and I've never tried it. I've never been in a situation. Do you think, okay, in a survival situation, it's you and your wife, right? Do you think let's just say like you're out in Alaska and it's a huge snowstorm, you get caught on the road, no one's coming for a week, right? So you're trapped in your car, right?
Probably gonna die.
No. My question is let's just paint a positive picture. You don't die. But to stay warm, do you think is it proven? I can't remember if it's proven or not. Is it proven that if you two got naked and cuddled, you'd stay
Oh, that
warmer versus having clothes on and cuddling?
um I'm not 100% sure on this
If
answer,
anybody knows that, please let us know right now in the
but
comments.
I think it is a temporary warmth.
Fixed. It's a temporary warmth. Eventually
Yeah,
you get cold.
well, because eventually both your temperatures drop. And no, I mean, you still have to be covered. You've got to get in a blanket. You've got to get
No. I meant you're in a blanket. I meant
right.
that, right? You're in a
Okay.
blanket, but are you better off stripping and holding each other naked, or are you better off with all the clothes on, then getting the blanket on you?
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't think you would. I don't know why I asked that. But I was just curious. I thought maybe sometimes, Greg, you're like this knowledge bank of.
I understand. Yep.
Yeah.
It may, like, I'm staring at a book on my bookshelf right now. It's
Survival
like
of the fittest.
it's like the worst case scenario handbook.
Is it
Is it better to
better
cuddle naked to
to
live, or
cuddle naked to stay warm? I'll just do that. Maybe that'll get something out of that. Clothes or no clothes. Ideally, the people should be nude. The more skin to skin contact, the better. However, realistically, even nude, direct skin contact between the heat donor and the patient is small. Yeah.
okay?
How is it best to huddle for warmth, with clothes or naked? I'm looking this up on Quora. It says one part. Oh, this is from the United States Air Force. One part of a 2-week event was to simulate ejecting, which gives us. This isn't. Clothed is the correct way. Is correct to stay that skin to skin gets you the fastest transfer from person to person. However, why are you huddling for warmth? Because the outside environment is cold. Okay, this is stupid. That's the problem with Quora. Sometimes you get idiots on here.
Just looking up headlines quick. Oh, even though we're at an hour. From Al Jazeera, which is a Middle Eastern news outlet, which
What happened?
well, it's usually pretty good. U.S. Department of Energy says COVID probably came from a lab leak, and that's
We knew
supported
that
by.
though. We knew that though.
Not 100%.
Well, I think we did. Like, all I'm saying is that's not the first time I've heard somebody say that.
It's not the first time I've heard that, but it's the first time I've actually seen any kind of confirmation.
That's my point. I've actually heard confirmation before that.
From Al Jazeera, Wall Street Journal, and ABC News is what is posted on Google News. And then
now the question is, do you think that's Illuminati trying to thin out the herd?
No.
You've heard of all that weird shit.
Yeah,
right?
I have.
And Rockefeller wanted, like, he believed in knocking down the population.
Yeah.
He was the Thanos. He was a Thanos guy.
He was. Yeah. Anyway.
I think he came up with, I was just recently listening to this on a podcast. He came up with the idea of, God, I forgot the club. He's part of a club. They're all rich. And he was a big proponent of only one, like a family unit should only have one offspring. Yet he had 6 kids.
I just read this in Japan, they're having an issue because there's not enough population to take over businesses. So like if you're
because they're getting rid of all the girls.
Well, not only, but like a generational business. So like your grandfather started a business post World War II.
Right. So he fixes clocks, builds it up
to like this mega, like his son took it over and it's like a booming business. But that guy's son doesn't either want it and he can't give it away. So Japan's looking at all these different businesses that might just shut down because no one wants to run them.
Well, that's the problem with a lot of things. Nobody wants to do anything.
One business owner, I think it was on Google News. Like if you just go to their news station, one owner's like, I'm giving my business away. I want to retire. So if anybody wants to come run this business, it's yours.
Wow.
And I'm like, whoa.
Yeah, that's pretty scary.
Yeah.
You know what's also scary? Because I had a bad back last week. I went to the chiropractor and I just happened to ask the chiropractor,
oh God,
hey, do you have any young people coming in because like of their phones? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, because people are always like doing this, right? They're hunching over. He goes, oh yeah. He goes, I have 14-year-olds that have arthritis in their neck and their neck looks worse than a 60-year-old.
Like they get that bump in the back. Is that?
Yeah, but it's arthritic.
Yeah.
Already at 14. So guys, people, please don't, if your kid is just glued to their phone 24/7,
every
they're
kid's glued
fucked by the time they're 40. They're fucked. So help them out. Like take the phone away or I don't know, have guidelines, which is really hard. I know it's hard, parents, but come on, you're a parent. Your job isn't supposed to be easy. So, but we'll see.
And with that,
we're good.
Cool.
We're done.
Yeah.
All
right, folks.
All right.
Go through your week. Don't be a douche.
There you go. So for for the Greg, this is Johnny saying podcast out. Take care. Have a great week. See you next Sunday.